What episode is that?
Y'all ain't heard nothing like this before. Beat him in the head with this trilogy. We drop this for a certain demographic. Turn it up, blast it. This is gonna be a classic. Facts. Not to run into me.
Welcome to Gangsters and Cigars, everybody.
Hey, paisans, gumaras. Welcome to episode 12. This is going to be such a cool episode. We're going to be talking to Jay Weisenger. He is a treasure hunter, treasure diver, and he's got a little bit of a dark past in the mob and his connection to the mob. We're going to talk about his connection, my family that you all already know, our connection together, Jay and I. Jay and I are good friends. It's a pleasure and an honor to have him on. Before we get started, I'm your host, Bobby Bacala.
And I'm Shirtless Mike and rocking the Gangsters and Cigars shirt.
So, Jay, a little bit of history on Jay. Jay's the owner of Nature Treasures. They make all of the treasures, pieces of 8, everything from necklaces, earrings, bracelets, rings, everything. His stuff is absolutely impeccable. His craftsmanship is superb. I love everything that Jay does. He's located down on Duval Street in Key West. I was just down there for Fantasy Fest. I picked up all my swag from Jay while I was down there. We had some great lengthy conversations. I think we've built a great friendship together. This is episode 12. This is going to be Treasure Hunters in the Mob. You guys can't miss this episode. It's going to be informative. Going to be funny at times. It's going to be great. I've missed you guys. I know we've had 2 episodes in the can on our Halloween specials. You guys really fanned out to our Halloween specials. I want to thank you.
Yes, thank you, everybody.
And
I really enjoyed doing those, and it was a lot of fun.
It was a blast, man,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
So at the end of this episode, please, thumbs up, give us likes, give us comments, man. Jay's going to want to hear your comments. We'll do more shameless plugs on Jay's company, James Business. But Jay's going to want to hear your comments, man. It means a lot to us when you guys leave your comments. We've had some beautiful comments back lately. We're getting great feedback. We're getting sponsors that want to come and help out the show and promote the show. What started out to be fun is now blossoming. We're both thankful for it. Again, you know my background. Come from an organized crime background on the good guy's side, though. Shirtless Mike is my guru when it comes to cigars. He is very well known in the community, as you guys know from Shirtless Mike's podcast. He's invited all around the country to sit in, just so they can say Shirtless Mike is there, which is pretty friggin' cool. So, without further ado, Gangsters and Cigars would like to introduce a friend of mine, a friend of ours, Jay Weisenger. What up, my brother?
You guys, I am so flattered, number one, so flattered that you're talking to me in Key West, Florida right now. How the hell are you?
Good, man. Well, I'm looking at the background,
Right.
living the life, man, living the dream.
There's a little touch to you with the little treasure pirate shit.
I hear you.
Yeah.
You're looking good as always, man. Looking
You know
svelte.
You know what? We need to go fishing and treasure hunting. That's all I can say. Get your
I'm
ass
down, man. Whenever you're ready, I'm down.
Meeting you in Key West was a thrill of Fantasy Fest. You're a real character.
Thank you.
I'm really flattered to be on your show.
Thank you.
And your interest in treasure and treasure hunting is great.
Absolutely. So let's kick it, man. So how did you get into treasure hunting? I know you're a big boat guy.
You know what? Where we grew up on the shore,
right,
back in the day, some people got drawn to certain things in the city and some people other things to escape. And I was one that got in the water. You know what I mean? And it saved me.
Absolutely.
It was a salvage for me, bro. It kept me out of trouble. I was fishing on the docks at 10 and 11. You know what I'm saying?
I hear you.
Although I was getting in trouble too. Let me tell you, I was no angel like you.
Well, it's funny, and you and I spoke about it. So growing up in the neighborhoods that you and I grew up in, for me, you only had three choices. You either became a cop, a fireman, and we know the third choice. And a lot of my buddies that I grew up with, all family were connected, all went that route. Probably the smartest thing I did was at 17 come to Florida and play ball and get out of the life. So I get it. I absolutely get it.
You know what? You were lucky, and I was lucky too, because in 1980s, early 80s, I came down here to treasure hunt. I chose that different lifestyle, and my family actually wanted me in their businesses back home in the Bronx and Philly. But I chose another lifestyle. I came down here to treasure hunt because I dreamt when I was a kid of Robinson Crusoe and finding treasure and all that stuff. And I was lucky enough to have that opportunity. I did some real estate stuff when I was a kid,
Right?
and honestly got lucky. And that platform gave me that opportunity to come down here. And my dream always was to treasure hunt. God gives everybody that desire. Am I right for treasure?
I mean, look, what's cool is, I look at it this way. It's like doing an investigation. You got to find your mark. It's magical when you find something. The adrenaline rush has to be insane when you find something. What was your first thing you found? What was the first item or items you found?
You know what? Honestly, I never talk about finding myself. So I'm talking at arm's length, of course,
Okay.
to be on the smart side of things.
Okay.
I'm humble that way as well. Back in the 70s, me and my college buddies came down to the Keys. And we did some diving off of some of the beaches in this neck of the woods in Marathon. And there's a place out there, a couple places that people know about off Sombrero Beach in Marathon. And we got lucky. And you know what? When you dive as a kid, and that's your passion, and you go out and you have the opportunity to do that, and you actually find stuff, you get lit, bro.
Right.
When you put a piece of treasure in your hand, anybody, and you have that fever, gold fever, you get really lit. Just like a Cuban cigar, light it up. You know what I'm saying?
I got you.
So once you feel that gold in your hands, you always have it. But you really have it before that. Again, everyone's got it. It's just a matter of how bad they got it and what they desire most.
So you have your own company still, right? Your own treasure.
Oh, absolutely. I'm actually media director of the big company. I represent Double Down.
Oh,
I did well back in the day and worked with the team, Mel Fisher and all those guys, and actually sold coins for Mel, and actually was one of the square pegs that came back and would pay Mel. Mel ran with a band of pirates. It was really rough on him. It was rough on him to talk to investors as well, because the business again is a little bit dubious.
no, yeah, yeah.
And there were a lot of doubters. But I got lucky, and things worked out, and I took it to the next level with this company, Double Down. I'm media director. We're entertaining some really big people and shows like Oak Island and those type. All those shows, Deadliest Catch. Their times have been great, and they paved the way. But everyone, I think, is ready for a new adventure.
Oh, absolutely.
Something real, something that's new, fresh, and exciting, and it has history and the future all involved. So we're hoping to work something out with a couple of these big TV channels that are coming down to talk to us.
That would be badass, man. That's amazing.
They're already down, and they also wanted to do that interview type show also as well.
I know you and I had spoke to them, both big history buffs, and I love all things adventure, all things history, because it's really what brings to light where you can go, well, shit, that's actually tangible. It's not a pipe dream when guys like you, guys before you had done this. So besides the Florida waters, where have you been?
You know what? Everywhere's from Cape Cod to the Bahamas.
Really?
Yeah. And I can say that all the technology now, it's not even about there's a lot of treasures scattered out there.
Right.
It's really about claiming the treasure properly, going through the paces, preserving the history of the treasure. It's very expensive, and a lot of people in the treasure business are not interested in that end of it. And hopefully with my team together, the best professional treasure hunters in the world, honestly, I'm so lucky to be surrounded by the best.
That's cool, man.
But we can give back. The end goal really is to give back to the reef. It's really important to me. And Hollywood is kind of laughing at that kind of thought. But
Right.
I think I'm going to be able to bring them around, honestly. If the people coming down in February don't come around, there are other people in Hollywood like Leonardo and other people like Tom that love the ocean, love diving, have more money than God, and can care less about pretentious Hollywood. You know what I mean? They do their thing, just like you and me.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
We do the
So
thing.
I do have something that I find really interesting that I want to ask you about.
What's up, bro?
You go out, you got your crew, you find whatever, wherever in the Florida waters. How much of a taste does state of Florida take from you?
Come on, man. The state of Florida rules their waters.
I know.
It's all theirs until it's not. And luckily,
Okay.
people like Mel Fisher's attorneys back in the day,
Yeah.
Haran and people like that, set the tone and set the way things are done and negotiated. And hopefully, and that's many years later, we'll still be able to, those precedents set in those cases in federal state waters, we'll be able to lean on and move forward with those, because honestly, the whole goal is to preserve.
Correct.
And if we don't, it's just going to sit there and what? It's going to disintegrate. And pirates are going to pick at it. So we need to, wherever it may be in any part of the world.
Well, because you're all doing it the right way.
It needs to be done the right way. And all the people need to be buttered up. Of course, we know how to do that, right? Everybody gets a slice of the pie. That's the fair way, right?
Right. No, I agree with you.
It's very simple and no different since the beginning of time. And
yep.
And our families dealt like that back generations and generations ago.
Yeah.
Just being fair.
I read, I did some reading prior to you and I even meeting and speaking, but it intrigued me, the whole treasure hunting, especially Florida and everything that has come out of the waters here. And I used to do some reading on it and found it dumbfounded. Well, actually, I was dumbfounded by what I read on Florida coming in and saying, hey, thanks for spending millions on going out there and doing whatever you're doing, but now it's ours. It was unsettling. You know, if the state was commissioning you and spending the millions on your rigs and equipment and everything else, I'd go, okay. But I did find that quite interesting. The other thing, so I don't live far from Sebastian.
Right.
And I know that, and I don't even know his name. The English guy from, you mentioned Oak Island. You know the English guy who does the
metal detector guy was up there.
So he lives there in Sebastian.
Who, that metal detector guy?
Yeah. So he lives in Sebastian. And he is, especially after the last hurricane again, that came, well, with the storm surges that we had here on the coast. And there was pictures of him still finding shit all over the beach in Sebastian. So which got me, I'm like, oh shit, I need to go out and buy a friggin' metal detector for shits and giggles to go out there so I don't drive my wife crazy sitting at home, only because it's cool as shit. Now, I know that his equipment is far from what you buy on eBay. Don't get me wrong. You
You
know?
know what? That's so much fun. And he put together a couple shows on the History Channel going out there and treasure hunting. And I don't think he found that much in his shows, but
Right.
they have definitely finding stuff I've heard in the last 10 days up there because of the storm.
That's what I was saying. That's what I heard. Yep.
You've heard that too?
Yes. There's got to be so much shit still out there, though, Jay.
Every foot of sand is 100 years. So when a storm hits like this up on the dunes, when
Yeah.
the dunes get chopped down,
Yeah.
that's erosion is showing you hundreds of years of history.
That's
And that's
interesting.
where
man.
you want to go on the low and high tides. There'll be people there. And that area is kind of concentrated where they found coins and stuff there. It's close to the
Yes,
inlet.
it is. Yeah.
Because those
There's a
ships
little-
were heading for the inlet. They were heading for,
Yes.
whatever. And they didn't
There's
make it out.
a little museum that's like directly in front of where the ships were found. It's like directly in front of the area, like you walked out into the ocean. And I know that they're out. Well, shit. After the hurricanes, it's like everybody and their mother are out on the beach over there.
That's 1715 fleet ships, and there are many not found. There are ghost ships that are not found, merchant ships that are not found,
Right.
and there are major ships that have been found. And I know that in St. Augustine they have a reclamation lab. I think it's where the lighthouse is. But
Yes.
they're reclaiming stuff, and hopefully our company is going to be able to use some of those facilities once we reveal what possibly we've got cooking.
Yeah, I get a lot of information on that. So the pirate crew I belong to that you and I spoke about. So we're on the Lighthouse Preservation Board.
Right?
We go out there and do things for the kids and stuff a lot, but they're still out there finding stuff. Absolutely, you're right.
You know what? People every week walk those beaches, and especially after storms, September, October, November. And there's treasure all over there. Those ships came aground.
Yeah, that's
They
very
showed
cool,
up.
man.
They were scattered. And again, there were fleets. And 20 or 30 ships lost in a fleet.
Yeah.
Scattered up and down the coast, the treasure coast. And what percentage of it was found, who knows?
So I used to treasure hunt in the Keys in the mid 80s. But the treasure we were pulling out had a great value, but it wasn't shiny.
Where you going with this, brother? You know what? I came down here in the 80s and was in treasure stuff. And I was a captain fishing.
Mhm.
And the staying power was not good. You had to be here for years to be able to survive here.
Oh, yeah.
If the weather was bad for a month at a time, there was a lot of pressure on you to do things that normally you probably wouldn't do.
Oh, no, I know that.
And when you got to know the waters like the back of your hand and people trusted you, maybe you did things that you probably wouldn't normally do at home. Or maybe you would do at home, who knows? But either way, things were crazy here in the 80s. Everybody was doing things and running things and
Oh, absolutely.
fishing and selling fish and this and that. And
Absolutely.
hustling, doing what we could do to survive.
Absolutely.
But people paid the price for that lifestyle. They really did. And now we're not, people that were doing that aren't looked upon as criminals anymore. They're probably were way ahead of their time, right?
Absolutely. You know what, though, now, after talking to you and stuff, one of the things that I really liked about you, besides you being brutally honest like I am, sometimes that gets me into trouble,
Right.
but I respect the man to be brutally honest. So besides that, you are walking, and I'm not just saying this because I'm not going to blow smoke about anybody's ass. You are a walking piece of living history. To me, that's cool as shit. I can hang my hat on other things that I've done, but
You know
you
what?
actually are a walking piece of history. And I respect that, man. And I think that's absolutely amazing.
You're great. You know what? We all have claim to fame, and I'm nothing compared to the shit you've seen in your life. And but the stuff I've seen in my life, I could write a book that rivals The Godfather, honestly. And one day we'll tell that story. It's gonna be the working title now, Golden Ghetto, because I grew up in that area where it was there. It was that.
Oh, me too. Yep.
And my dad definitely wore the Yankee uniform. I have pictures with him with Tommy Hendrix.
Yes.
Scouted him.
That's what I forgot to tell. So for the audience, tell everybody who your dad was, what years he played, and what team.
My dad was drafted out of Stanton Military Academy at 17 years old. I have pictures of him in Yankee uniform with Yankee Hall of Famers that recruited him. And
I can't hear
he,
anything. That's why I'm so quiet.
he
Who
did
is
not
this?
have a long career. He had to go military. He was Stanton. And when I was in the picture, I went to all the Yankee games, Mickey Mantle Day, Roger Maris Day, all slapping him on the back, asking him to.
What was your dad's first name?
Chet the Jet, they called him. Now, Chet the Jet, my grandfather was partners with Fred Trump and did stuff with Fred Trump in the Bronx.
That's crazy, man.
So my mortgage business grandfather had wanted my dad. Of course, he was good with people. And that's the way he went. And there's stories from that as well.
That's that's bad. When you can say that your old man was a Yankee, that's pretty badass, man.
He was a
Hell
baby
yeah.
face. He was bad to the bone, man. He was a player.
What position?
He was debonair. He was a first baseman, lefty. And he could power the ball, I'm telling you right now.
He had the swagger, Jay.
He had the gift. It's a gift to be able to really. It's a gift. Like
That's cool.
When you can stand next to people like Mickey Mantle and Roger Maris and say, "Hey, I swagger like that." That's a gift, right?
Oh yeah, that's sexy, man. That's so cool. I mean, it's every kid's dream.
And you know what? It was his dream, and he shared that dream with a lot of people too. He was very personable, and he used it to his advantage, and people used him possibly because of that attribute he had. But he loved it. He loved that lifestyle. He was a playboy too. And that's that.
What years did he play?
It was in Stanton Military Academy. Tommy Hendrix picture was 1952.
That's badass. So
He was 17.
my
So
sidekick couldn't hear everything.
I can't hear
You'll have to
everything,
go
so
play
I'm
the
just, that's why
podcast.
I'm very silent. I'm gonna watch
Right.
everything before I upload it.
right.
So you have to forgive me.
Well, he was 17 and he got drafted.
That's
He got
amazing,
scouted
man.
And drafted. And,
Yeah, very cool though. Yeah, I mean, you
Yeah.
got cool stories, dude.
Well, I'd love to share them, and some I can, and some probably at arm's length, like I said. And
So
that's the way. But the treasure hunting is the focus, bro. That's the thing.
absolutely, man.
And I'm glad you share that passion too, because really,
Oh, I absolutely do.
it's a big
Absolutely
passion
do.
with me. I represent Double Down. I really want to bring our team's next adventure forward, because it's really important to try to preserve the reef, and that's really what it's about. The past is past. It speaks for itself. It's freaking amazing stuff, really. And also that nighttime series that we're going to do, that talk show, Key
Right.
West After Dark. You know
Right.
what? I used to listen to a guy by the name of Howard Stern. And people say that I ask questions like him and talk like him because they never know what I'm going to say, kind of like you, right? And I love to put people on the spot. And the most eclectic people in the world walk down Duval Street like you. And the people I've met is freaking unbelievable. So hopefully an interview show will be happening soon. You know, my spot is unbelievable. I've got next to me Adam and Eve on one side, a lingerie sexy shop. And on the other side, I have the sexiest bathing suit shop in the world, where women off of 100-foot motor yachts walk in there. So I need to tell you, like, I feel like I'm in the middle of a bosom. That location is unbelievable, and just the people are great. So I hope that we do that, and it's going to happen.
Good. Hey, all right. How's this for a pitch for a show?
What? Tell me.
You do the treasure hunting, and you got an ace investigator doing all the investigations and the provenance of where all that shit came from after you find it and the history going back.
You know what? I'm so
That's a
glad you
fucking
brought
show,
that
man.
up. I'm glad you brought that up because
That's a fucking show.
such an important
next
part to convince
investigative
the History
discovery.
Channel and part of our pitch deck to TV is the major part is the history of where the ship was coming from, why they were loading up, who was on the ship, the captains of the ship. Get personable, let people know the story. And the fact of the matter is the shipwreck that we're researching and doing in
Right?
the fleet, they came out of a time of a black plague, similar to what we were going through in the last 4 years. People were dying to get on that ship, literally. The captain didn't even want people on that ship. He just wanted treasure. So there's a whole lot of drama about that. And what did the King Philip want? All he cared about was the money.
Oh, absolutely.
That's what the kings care about, really. Those captains
Absolutely.
knew. Those captains knew as soon as they got in, soon as it was September, October, November, for centuries already, they knew to sail this way they were toast. Because those months were marked months. So when the king would call them, they knew, holy shit, we got to go do this. So the whole history, why the king needed that money, and he was financing his crusade, and he didn't care. And those ships went down, and that ruined their empire, bro.
Yep.
So there's loads of shipping treasure out there. When those merchant ships would tag along with those lead of the fleet ships, all
Yep.
knowing they would get slaughtered, and when the storms come, they would all scatter. Some of those ships were on record, some not. We call the knots ghost ships, and that's all I'm.
Well,
we're
a
on it.
lot of the money that was financed, and I'm a Mason. I
Right.
know a lot about Mason history,
I
Templar,
like that Oak Island. That Oak Island
Yeah.
stuff is great.
Yeah, I know about Templar history. All it. You need a good investigator on the show with you, man. I think we kick ass and take names. That'd be a great show.
You're hired. You know what? The next time you come down, I'll introduce you and we'll talk.
Absolutely,
You know what
absolutely.
we need a person. We need more personalities like you to beat the drum for our treasure team, because it's important for the world to learn and
Oh,
find
yeah.
out about treasure. Honestly,
Absolutely.
I've done enough business to know I could throw a financial offering towards Wall Street. Those people, just to get involved, don't care if they win or lose. It's a write-off to them and could raise $30 million with 10 different companies I already know of. But it's not all
Cool.
about that all the time. And that's what a lot of
Cool.
people don't get. I think you get it. It's easy to raise that money, but it means more to raise it with people that care, because the end goal is really what counts.
Absolutely. All right.
So,
Let's give my audience and Mike's audience a little taste of you and I in the life, because let's face it, it's called Gangsters and Cigars.
go.
And yes, thank you. So we come from the same area. Your people and my people are always close.
Yep.
My grandfather was Carbonari in Sicily, came to America like every immigrant, like the Jewish immigrants, the Italians, the Irish, was treated like shit. And my grandfather ended up becoming a capo.
I got
And
you.
in the middle of as the story goes, in the middle of the Depression, my mom had me later on. She had me when she was 40. I didn't even know my grandfather. But she had horses at Central Park. She was doing ballet. They owned a couple of brownstones as people are throwing themselves out of fucking buildings, right? So when I was very young and my grandmother didn't speak English, and we used to talk all the time, and I used to always say, "What did he do for a living, Grandma?" Well, he pressed shirts. I said, press shirts? Yeah. He was a steam presser. Says, yeah. With people still in the fucking shirts, he may have pressed shirts. But he was no, steamer or seamstress.
Yeah, I get it. We were butchers.
But, yeah, exactly. So, I mean, I know where my family, I can tell you where my family are from in Sicily and what everybody did in Sicily, and we all know what they did. And my dad used to do before I was born, my dad in the 50s used to do a lot of work in Cuba in the day when, Sinatra and Martin and shit were running fucking Cuba. The Italians and the Jews were running Cuba. We know that before Castro came in. And it's funny, as I got older and shit and had interest in stuff and going off to the academy and this stuff, I used to say to my old man, what'd you do in Cuba? Oh, no, I did relations. Fucking relations. So that type of stuff I find interesting on the path that I took in life and looking back and, to meet you, all right?
Oh, yeah.
The rum got you?
No rum.
But I look back and, my dad was a prince to me. And so it really didn't matter what the old man did, right? We both know that. But when I look now and I start looking back at shit, and I start finding shit and paper and all kinds of stuff, and I mean, it's still, it's my family history. I don't have an issue talking about my dark side to where, where I came and started working organized crime, as a young cop in Miami. But I just do find, every family has a dark past or an affiliation. And hey, I still talk to friends of mine I grew up with that are still all connected. We laugh about the paths we've taken. Give a shit and give two fucks, And I know we spoke about shit like that as well.
You know what? Everybody takes that path. We got brought up in that lifestyle. So we know it. We lived it. I saw it up close. And I was at arm's length from it. Like a lot of people I knew, families that were in it, was pushed a little bit away from it at arm's length.
Right.
But there was a certain time in my life I was invited in and respected, but didn't really want that route. And luckily, the skills that my dad had in baseball took me out to Ohio to play baseball at a college. And even though I didn't play, it got me out of that. You know what I'm saying? But
Where'd you go? Youngstown?
No, I went to Ohio University. Actually, my dad palled around with guys like Bob Boone and Mike Schmidt of the Phillies. My dad palled around with them. So Mike Schmidt went to Ohio University, and my choices were Miami University and Ohio University. And Mike Schmidt called me one day and said, I'm Mike Schmidt. My dad says, this is Mike Schmidt on the phone. I go, the Hall of Famer? And he goes, yeah, he wants to talk to you. And I thought he was bullshitting me, but he wasn't. And Mike said, go to Ohio University, where I went to school. And I did. And honestly, I saw a lot of stuff growing up, ball players, friends of my dad. He palled around with a lot of big people like that. He was a baby-faced guy, and they loved him. He was a super character. He did take trips to Cuba for people. He made deals in the islands and financed and represented monies from pension funds and Teamsters. He loaned a lot of money for people. When they say I make money move, that song.
Absolutely.
That's what my dad back in the day, that's what they did.
So was your dad in the day a friend of mine, a friend of ours?
He was, well, you know what? He was very loyal.
I didn't hear you.
He was very loyal.
Friend of ours.
He was a friend, and eventually his loyalty cost him as well. But loyalty is important in life, and And that's the way that rolls.
I got it on my. So one hand says loyalty, the other hand says honor. So
Right?
that's what I live by. That's
For us,
how I
it's-
was raised. That's how you were raised.
For us, it was handshakes, and a lot of people that dealt with my dad, it was like that with him. They trusted him, they believed in him. He was a very good financier. Remember, he worked in the mortgage business with my grandfather and Fred Trump. So my father
You
was
told me that. That's cool.
he was a very sharp peg, and maybe people took advantage of him in that respect, used him a little bit. But you know what? He loved the life. He he walked the walk.
Yeah.
He really did.
And I think you'll agree with me. I don't know if we're a dying breed, Jay. I don't know if I've been called a dinosaur because of the way I look at things and I'm too hardcore. And I don't know. I think it's getting harder to find true men with a die-hard loyalty and honor philosophy. Like, I'm loyal to a fault. My old man was loyal to a fault. Not saying it's the best way to be, but with certain people, you get blind loyalty. May get you in trouble sometimes, but I haven't come across too many people anymore. There's a handful that's in my circle that I've served with, and so on and so forth, that I could say, 4:00 in the morning. If I said I'm going to bring the shovel, you bring the lie. They'll be there at 4:00 in the morning.
That's what you need. Those are the people you need on your team. And you know what? God bless my father, but at his funeral, I realized how important and loyal a person he was, and that he meant a lot to a lot of people, and they appreciated him a lot.
Oh, absolutely. Did the Donald show up?
Oh,
No,
no,
huh?
but a lot of people I had never met before came up and introduced themselves and told me stories that I had no idea about my father, about clubs he had and this and that, and restaurants he had and Long Branch and this and that. And I go, what? But the fact is, they loved him for him, and you the same way. You're a character, you're a straight shooter, and we just have to learn to be more compassionate now the way we talk, because we're straight shooters and they're in a different world, bro.
No, absolutely, man. I agree with you.
So we just will have to water it down a little bit, and the truth.
Oh, absolutely.
The truth ever hurts everybody. No one's perfect, and that's that.
Absolutely. So, what I'd like to do, if you're down.
What?
So I was talking to Mike. I'd love to do a series, a couple of episodes with you, and again, tastefully, not mentioning names. Maybe some of the old time names where these guys have been buried for 50, 60 years. Other from that, I'd love to do something with you where we can actually dive into the life and continue to talk about further projects with you and treasure hunting and keeping that alive. But to give our audience a taste also of, what I started this whole podcast over. Now, I'm really branching out because I have so many different interests, and this is one of them. I'm compassionate and passionate, actually, of your whole treasure hunting and treasuring and keeping history, and especially Florida history, and going back to, hey, the King of England, the Spaniards, the French, and everybody else has had their hands in all of this, and the reasons why they had their hands in it. And, at the end of the day, everybody thinks it had to do with money alone, but war fueled, and I think you'll agree, 90% of what we're talking about, and why the treasure is out here in one way or another, one shape. Even the Muslims in the day and the piracy, nobody thinks or nobody realizes how big the Muslim pirates were, or the Chinese pirates, one of the greatest pirates was a female Oriental.
Pirate stuff is red hot.
It is. I know, and I love the history.
And I have pirate treasure coins. King Carlos sent us Jean Lafitte, the French pirate coin. That are
from New Orleans. Lafitte from New Orleans.
Lafitte from New Orleans. King Carlos of Mexico got conned by, and he sent him a ship of treasure. It never made it, and changed the course of American history.
Yes, it did.
Because the French helped us win battles for a century, all kinds. And the find of the ship is amazing. A shrimp boat captain dropped his nets on it by accident.
Really?
What are the odds of that?
Wow.
The name of the shrimp boat was The Mistake. What is the odds of that?
What's the odds of that? That's interesting. That's very cool.
They're cool coins. A whole bunch of collectors love them, and everyone loves pirate stuff. So your pirate gig is so popular right now down in the Keys. You're hired. So when you come down to visit, definitely be dressed in pirate garb a little bit.
Oh, I will.
And we'll pirate it up.
Absolutely. So let's do another episode or two. See how you like it. We'll blast everything that you're doing out in social media. We're on Instagram. We're on YouTube. We're on Facebook. So we'll blast everything you want out there. I'm going to post some of the pictures you sent me of you and some of the coins and your jewelry. I'm going to put it out there on social media with the picture of your card. Oh, I know, man. I get more compliments on this piece. I don't have a gold one yet.
You know what? They'll love whatever you wear. You bring that vibe to the table. I'm flattered you like it. I'm here with I'm here with my buddy Stingray Steve, and he's got Stingray Steve's over in Lazy Way Lane, and visit him for sports clothing. Tell all your people if they want to dress keysy.
Very cool. Very cool. I'll put it out there. Tell him to send me something, and I'll put it out on the sites.
Yeah, man, it's right here.
All right. Well, send me take a picture of his card or whatever he's located, and I'll put it out.
Here's his motto.
All right, let me give a shameless plug to you guys. So to our guest, Shirtless Mike and I would like to give a great big thanks to Stingray Steve. You got to be a character if you're hanging out with my boy Jay. We'll meet next time I come down.
Definitely, we'll talk.
So if you're in Key West, make sure you see Jay over at Nature's Treasures. He's located on Duval. He's a character. Go see Stingray Steve's shop. I'll put some shit out there. I'll give you a call when we're off air real quick, Jay. It's been a pleasure. You're the best, brother, man. I hope to do things with you in the future, man.
Man, we could talk forever, bro. Be well, all right?
Out.
Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Thanks. Peace out, brother. Key West loves you.
Peace out, brother. God bless.
Have a good one, man. Thanks for coming
man.
on.
My pleasure, cuz.
We didn't get to the review.
Now we got to do our review.
Yeah.
I'm going to kick that off to you, Mike.
I was over here being silent because I had to apologize because I could not hear him. So I was just trying my best. I caught a few words.
Yeah, I'm sure, our fans will be able to hear it on the podcast. I couldn't hear him either, because of the background noise.
Yeah,
and he's outside with the wind blowing.
I'm literally going deaf.
So. Well, he's in the Keys with the winds blowing in the background near his boat. And, must be nice to live the life.
So this is the Oliva Serie O, in which I forgot to get the type of tobacco. I want to say it's Ecuadorian Habano. It's either that or Cameroon. Our rep's over there, but he's kind of busy. But this cigar is a perfect medium body cigar. It's actually it's right at the medium. I wouldn't call it a medium plus.
Come over and say hi. What's his name?
Ryan.
Ryan,
want to come say
hello to our fans, man.
So this is a perfect medium body cigar. I'm enjoying it. Our Oliva rep's gonna come say hi. Right now we're having an Oliva cut light.
Come in the
here.
middle. Come in the middle. Come in the middle, Ryan.
Yeah, come in the middle.
Okay, Ryan's.
All right. Anyway, so what do you think
busy.
of this cigar, Bobby?
I'm a fan of Oliva. Always have been.
What's up,
And this
guys?
is Ryan.
Ryan is
wonderful
the
Oliva
Oliva rep.
New
Here
Oliva
it's
sales rep.
here at Smoke Ring 72. We asked him to come over. Both Mike and I are fans of Oliva, Amazon Basin. This is a great smoke.
That's the Habano wrapper. Really,
That's a
really
Habano.
great cigar. Yep.
Tell us about it real quick for our
It's
fans.
great. Nicaraguan tobacco, binder filler, simple Habano wrapper. It's going to be a medium body, really nice and crisp, a little bit of sandiness to it. Can't beat it. Perfect cigar for the morning, or if you're recording a podcast with a glass of wine.
Exactly. Dig it with my vino.
That's right.
I want to thank Ryan for coming to say hello to the fans. Great guys. Hey, when you're out, you're hunting cigars, pick up an Oliva. The whole line is amazing. You won't be disappointed. When you smoke one, think of Ryan, think of the show, think of Oliva.
Smoke Oliva, guys. Thanks for having me, boys.
All right, brother.
No problem.
Thank you, man.
Yeah, so this is a perfect cigar, and a long time ago, Oliva, for some reason, no matter what I smoked by them, used to give me a headache, but now it doesn't. So it's perfect to get back into the brand. And
This is definitely crispy, definitely creamy. I've had the O before. I do like the O. No bite. No, some of the cigars give you that aftertaste. Great. It's great to pair it with a nice creamy dark chocolate. We're going to do an episode on pairing some cigars and chocolates. The only way, for some of you who don't know cigars, the only way to get a taste of a cigar out of your mouth is with chocolate, not with a mint, not with a cup of coffee. It is absolutely chocolate. Some chocolates pair better.
espresso can help too.
Cuban coffee will help.
Yeah, Cuban coffee, because that's like down in Nicaragua, Dominican Republic, when they're blending cigars all day, they're smoking as many, not a whole cigar, but as many as 20 different blends to sample. And so they got to get that, they got to refresh their palate somehow. So they also use like lemon in the water, stuff like that, or just sucking on a lemon. That helps with refreshing
Chocolate's the
palate.
best, man. Let me give a quick shout out to two fans of, big supporters of the show. Very, very close friends of mine, two of my dearest best friends, and that's George Gonzalez and Chad Cook. Chad is a pirate friend of mine. We belong to Ancient City Privateers out of St. Augustine. We do charitable events. George does emceeing for every charity event. He's got one of the hugest hearts. We do things for the kids. We do reenactments. We do a lot about history. But I wanted to give a shout out to them because we're always asking about, hey, Bobby, what's the next show? What are you guys doing on the show? I was with them today. Wanted to give them a shout out.
Shouts out to y'all, brothers.
Shouts out to y'all. I'd also like to give out a shout to all of you fans that have been loyal and sticking with us. Good things coming down the road. More episodes with that character we just had on, Jay. What a great guy. What a walk of living history and just a character. And he's got 9 million stories. So we look forward to doing that as well down the road. On that note, you know my line. You can either be seated at the table or you can be at the menu. May God bless. Wait till next week's episode. It's going to be the first series of terrorism. It's going to be a great show. I'll tell you my involvement. I'm going to have a special guest on. Have a glass of vino. Give your kids a kiss. Give your gomata. Give your wife a kiss. Never forget your wife. Just put your gomata to the side. God bless. Have a good night.
Have a good night, y'all.